button. Click here, and you can see the Ashto type 1 that we have created while ago is showing in here. So click this, then import. Okay. So the dimension of the Ashto type 1 is automatically generated in here. So click OK. Oh, okay, sorry. So since this is a composite tab, composite section, we are using two different materials. Okay, so to define the material for each, click here the select material from database. Okay, then this window will show. So for example, for the concrete material in the slab, we want to use a grade C3000. I'm using the ASTM database, but if you want to choose any database that you want, you can do so. But for this example, I'm using the ASTM. Then for the girder, let's use the grade C4500. Okay. Then click OK. And as you can see, here, the modulus of elasticity, diffusion ratio, the modulus of elasticity and the density ratio for these two materials is automatically generated also for the Poisson's ratio. Okay? Click OK. Then we can now apply this on our model. So as you can see, this is the composite sections that we have. So just like in the combined tab, so here, so a material is assigned to the section, but the material that we defined on our section will prevail during analysis. So we need to define our section here in the composite tab. So MIDAS Civil can also consider the difference in launching time between your slab and girder during the construction stage. Okay. And now let's go to our last tab, which is the steel girder tab. So here for our last tab. So we have two sections type available here. So namely the steel girder box and the steel girder eye. Also here in the steel girder tab, aside from defining the girder itself, you can also define the longitudinal stiffeners already. So I will show you in the presentation here. So the longitudinal stiffeners are this one, and for the box it is this one. So these are the stiffeners that running along the longitudinal direction of the girder. Okay, so you have three stiffeners to choose from. So you have the flat, so this one is the flat here. So you can also choose the T or the U rib. Okay. So let's try creating one. So for steel girder, select steel girder eye. Okay. So you also have here the option to do a symmetric one. Okay. Let's create a symmetric eye section for now. Okay. So for the wave one, let's input 0.4 and be 3.4. For the age, 1.8. Then for the thickness, let's consider 0.05 for everything. Okay. Then here, this button is used to define your stiffeners. So if you don't have any stiffeners, just put a name here, steel girder. And this is already okay. So, but if you want to define your stiffener, so select here. Okay. So we will define our stiffeners here. So first, we need to define our stiffener. Okay. So the 3 types of stiffeners that you can use are in here. So for now, let's use the flat. Let's name this flat. Okay. So for the height, let's use 0.1. And for the base, let's use 0.05. Okay. Then click add. And
Nolan, can I just ask a quick question?
okay.
Are the stiffener properties, I mean, the ones that you're entering in there now, are they used both to calculate the mass, the stiffness, and also later on in the design, used in the strength calculations to determine whether or not the girder has, sufficient capacity and so on? Are they all those 3 different aspects included, or is it just to calculate the stiffness?
So later, you have here the options to include the stiffeners on your design here. So later, it will be shown. Okay. So automatically, it will be computed. But you also have the option here to exclude the stiffeners in the computation of your section and just use it as the stiffen. Sorry, here. So later this will show in the option. So okay, so let me continue. So for the deck position, let's say we want to input our stiffeners along the web here. Then let's keep the web as it is. Okay. Then for the number of stiffeners, let's use 2. Okay. So here. So since the height of our web is 1.8, so let's select the spacing of our stiffeners to 0.6 for both. Oops. Okay. Then here, you can select the stiffener. Okay. So like what I mentioned, here you have the option to include the stiffeners on your section properties. But during the design, the stiffeners will automatically be calculated. But if you want to exclude the stiffeners in the computation of your section property, just uncheck this. If you want to include the stiffeners on your section properties, click here. Okay. So let's say we want to include that. Then click add. Okay. Okay. So your stiffeners will now show in your drawing. Okay. Then click OK. Okay. On your section here, the stiffeners are now showing. Then click OK. And it is now ready to be assigned in your model. Okay, so as you can see, the stiffeners is not showing here in the model area, but don't worry, it is still there. So it's still there, it just cannot be shown in the model area. Okay. So okay. So and that's it for the section properties. So we already created sample sections for each tab. Okay. So now let's move on to the section property calculator. So this will be quick. Okay. So we will do 2 samples here, the concrete box girder and the steel composite girder. Okay. So here. We will create a concrete box girder and a steel composite girder. So here. So here's the sectional